Keith Richards has revealed that he's feeling fitter than ever after quitting smoking 2 years ago. The musician, 78, who is preparing for the Rolling Stones' 60th anniversary tour, had been a smoker for a whopping 55 years but quit before last year's US tour. Keith has now told how during rehearsals for the shows he felt like he had more air in his lungs and voice after giving up the unhealthy habit. He told The Mirror, "I didn't notice things until I started rehearsing for the tour last year, and when I started working, I noticed I had more air in the lungs and in the voice." The band yesterday announced a 14-date European tour kicking off in Madrid on June 1, their first set of shows since the death of drummer Charlie Watts last August, aged 80. Keith has been known for his wild partying, heavy drinking and drug use as well as smoking. He gave up his heroin habit in 1978 and eventually stopped using cocaine after an accident in 2006 in which he fell out of a tree, requiring brain surgery and a metal plate in his skull. "I've given up everything now, which is a trip in itself," he said afterwards. But he also joked the secret to his longevity was treating his body like a temple by only taking high-quality drugs. She said in his memoir Life, "When I was taking dope, I was fully convinced that my body is my temple. I can do anything I want with it and nobody can tell me yay or nay." He had a decade-long love affair with heroin and was also a heavy cocaine user. But he explained in his memoir why he thinks he survived while many of his peers overdosed and died at an early age. He wrote, "It's not only the high quality of drugs I had that I attribute my survival to. I was very meticulous about how much I took. It never put more in to get a little higher. That's where most people F up on drugs. It's the greed involved that never really affected me. People think once they've got this high, if they take some more they're going to get a little higher. There's no such thing. Especially with cocaine. Maybe that's a measure of control and maybe I'm rare in that respect. Maybe there I have an advantage." The 1980s saw a new side to Richards, as he quit heroin, after nearly landing a lengthy prison sentence for possession in Canada, and married model Patty Hansen, with whom he has 2 daughters. He was said to have become slightly more settled, focusing on new musical projects and lengthy touring with the Stones over his more harmful vices. But the comparatively more sedate lifestyle still could not keep him out of the way of some unexpected injuries. In 1998, while on a break in their Bridges to Babylon tour, Richards slipped and fell off a ladder while trying to retrieve a book in the library of his Westchester, Connecticut mansion. He broke 3 ribs from the impact and after being hit by books on the floor. "It was one of those moments where you have to make a decision, take it in the ribs or take a shot in the temple on the desk. All part of life's rich pageant," he said later. There were even fears he had punctured a lung when he fell while stretching amid the library's floor-to-ceiling shelves. The NME reported at the time that his agent said he had not been drinking. Richards' recovery from the fall forced the band to reschedule upcoming tour dates in Berlin, Munich, and Gelsenkirchen, Germany, and in Zagreb, Croatia. When asked later about whether the fall had made him think about quitting the Stones' extensive touring schedule, Richards replied, "Retire? I can't spell the word. I'd play on in a wheelchair. This is what we do. Otherwise, what's life all about? In addition, hot of the Pacific leg of their record-breaking A Bigger Bang tour in 2006, Richards and Ronnie Wood took their wives for a week-long break on an island off Fiji to recover ahead of shows in Italy. After an afternoon of swimming at their exclusive resort, Richards perched himself on a tree, described as a gnarled low tree that was basically a horizontal branch only a few feet off the ground. But as he tried to jump down and head for lunch, he slipped and hit his head on the trunk, hard. Richards claimed not to have felt much at the time, until days later he suffered from a blinding headache while out on a boat ride. The same night, his wife Patty Hansen woke up to Richards having seizures in bed and called for medical help. He was then flown on an excruciating 4-hour flight to Auckland, New Zealand, where it was discovered Richards had cracked his skull open and had a potentially fatal blood clot on his brain. Referring to the journey in his book Life, Richards called the flight the worst of my life, adding, "They strapped me in a straitjacket on a stretcher. I couldn't move. I was cursing the mother F. Give me painkillers, for Christ's sake." He underwent a successful cranial surgery with hospital neurosurgeon Dr. Andrew Law. "I woke up feeling great," Richards said. "And I said, well, when are you going to start?" To which Law said, "It's all done, mate." The incident delayed the Rolling Stones' 2006 European tour by 6 weeks and forced the band to reschedule several shows. In a brief statement on returning to the tour, Richards said it was good to be back and apologized for falling off my perch. Though visibly more frail as he recovered, Richards completed the next 40 scheduled shows that year, and kept Dr. Law, his head man, by his side. When the band returned to New Zealand on their 14 On Fire tour in 2014, Richards was reunited backstage with Dr. Law and thanked him for tending to his tree-induced ills. The incident is said to have also precipitated the end of Richards' drug-taking days and wild partying.